Hi there Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk Bounty video. And in this video we're going to be taking a look at the Wave 2 of the Mandalorian Retro Collection figures, or 3 of them anyway, because I do only have the 3. I purchased these from Star Action Figures in the UK. A link to them is in the description below if you want to check them out. I do believe that they only got the 3 in because we in the UK get the solid cases, so I managed to pick these 3 up. We have Ahsokatano, Bo-Katan Kryze and Boba Fett Morak, which is probably the best one of the lot. And I'm going to review them all. I'm going to take them all out of the packaging so we can take a closer look. And we're going to start off with Boba Fett. All right then, so let's start off with Boba Fett. And he is on the Morak card back. So this is Boba Fett Morak. Lovely, lovely image of Boba Fett there from the Mandalorian. It's got to be said. One of the best episodes in my opinion as well. Unfortunately, he is being covered up by the Retro Collection sticker there. And actually, I think I even may have 2 stickers on top of each other on this particular one. Everyone knows by now that I'm not a massive fan of the Retro Collection. You know, I do prefer the super articulated 3 3/4 inch figures. But, you know, if they are going to make 5POA, I would prefer it if they are in the sort of vintage Kenner style. And also, when it comes to the Retro Collection, I do prefer it that we get figures that have never been done before. So people like Tarkin and things like that. And these ones fit that bill. So the stressed card look, again, not a fan of it. Not a fan of the Retro Collection sticker. And hopefully that this image is going to be the same image that they use for the Vintage Collection figure, because the Vintage Collection figure of this has been confirmed that it will be on a card back, unlike the Book of Boba Fett version, which is going to be in one of those deluxe boxes. He comes with all those extra pieces, doesn't he, like the Stormtrooper helmet and things like that. But not really too sure what's going on here. Is this like a bit of smoke or something? It's a bit of a shame because it does impact on the helmet in the picture. I found that a little bit weird. It's almost like it's a smudge, but I would have preferred it if it was more of a cleaner image just in that area there. But he still looks very, very cool on the card back, and the figure looks pretty decent as well. On the back of the cards for these, there is very, very little. You get a bit here about the figures that are in the wave, and then a little bit about the Retro Collection, and then the rest of the card back is just all this small print, all of this warning, Disney and Hasbro at the bottom, just pretty awful really. And as we know with the Retro Collection, the card backs are very, very bendy and very thin. So hopefully they'll sort that out as well, as they're going to be doing with the Vintage Collection. But there's the card back with the Mandalorian logo, Boba Fett Morak. And let's open this guy up and check out the figure. All right then, so let's take a closer look at the figure. And of course, you know, with these being sort of like Kenner inspired figures, they are quite basic in terms of their sculpting. But I think this one by far is the best one. We have the armor in green there, really nicely painted. And there's his helmet. And of course, you also have the sort of neck scarf around him there as well. Now this is the version from the Mandalorian, so he hasn't got into his full new Book of Boba Fett armor at this point, so he does have those like baggy trousers there, and you can see his yellow knee pads, which are pretty cool. And on the arm there we have his red gauntlet, same on that side, and we have the yellow on the shoulder pads. The rocket pack is all one color. I'm just going to see if this rocket comes out. It doesn't, it's not removable, but it does look like it could if you were to pull that out, but it doesn't seem to be removable at this point. And this is just a nice looking figure. It's going to go really nicely with the other first wave of the Mandalorian Retro Collection figures, and as I say, this is probably the best of the bunch. Now, a criticism that we've had in the past, certainly with the first wave of Retro Collection, was that the weapons always fell out of the characters' hands. And these ones are actually really good. So they actually stay in the hands. We've got that blaster there. And then we have the second blaster, which is this one here. Really basic looking blasters there. But of course, it is the Retro Collection. Now, this blaster here will also fit in his hand. That one a little bit looser than the main blaster. And this hand can hold them as well if you wanted to. But again, ever so slightly loose. But still pretty good. I mean, you can see there it does that classic thing where it wants to bend round like the old Kenner figures did. And there it is. Now with this one, what I would do is I would use his little holster there to just put the blaster in like that maybe. I think that's quite a good place to put it. And then he can hold his main blaster in this hand. So there you go. Now I just wanted to bring in the vintage Boba Fett just so we can get a comparison going. So there you go then, that's a comparison. This is my vintage Boba Fett. I wouldn't say it's in, you know, the best condition. You can certainly get a better one than this, but there you go. There's a bit of a nice comparison of the two. You can see the different visors, but the chest armor is very, very similar. Now if we look at the back, very, very similar rocket packs as well. Very similar indeed. I wouldn't go as far to say that they've used the exact same mold, but you know, that jetpack looks pretty similar to me. All right then, so that's Boba Fett from Morak. Next up, we're going to take a look at Bo-Katan Kryze, and this is the exact same card back image used for the vintage collection, which is why it makes me believe that hopefully they're going to use that Boba Fett image as well on the vintage collection. There she is in the bubble. Once again, huge retro collection sticker, and look at the amount of weathering that they've done on this card. It's just far too much in my opinion. I don't really ever remember seeing vintage cards like that. You know, they get creases and everything, but never quite that much white all around there. To me, it just looks like splodges of paint, I've got to be honest. The back of the cards are exactly the same as the Boba Fett figure, and there she is in the bubble with that green panel behind her. So we've seen this card back before with the vintage collection, so I'm just going to go ahead and open this one up. Alright then, so here she is, Bo-Katan out of the packaging, and the best thing about this figure is easily the helmet. Really nice paintwork that they've done on that helmet there. Obviously not as good as the vintage collection version, but you know, it looks like Bo-Katan essentially. The negatives about this figure is that she is seriously lacking paint on her armour. They've just kept her exactly the same sort of colour as the main figure, that sort of base grey. There is no paint on the figure at all. They have put a bit of paint on the rocket pack at the back there, which is obviously different to Boba Fett's, and they have used some paint on her belt and sort of gun holsters. But on the front there, we are missing any type of paint whatsoever, which is a bit weird. We do have knee pad paints, and we have some paint on the sort of shin guards there and on her gauntlets. But as I say, the helmet on this one is the best thing about it. She comes with dual blasters, which do fit very well into her hands, and they fit straight and everything. So they aim straight, so she looks pretty cool there, just like out of the show. But yeah, there's the helmet there. Some nice paintwork on that helmet. Really, really good. Articulation for these, of course, is 5 POA. So the head is obviously just on a swivel. Arms and legs swivel at the shoulders and the hips. But there she is. Pretty cool figure. I'm not going to say it's amazing. I think it's lacking a bit of paint. I mean, if you compare it once again to Boba Fett, you know, just a bit of paint on the armor would have been nice. But there you go. And finally, we have Ahsoka Tano. And once again, I do believe that this is going to be the card back for the vintage collection version. And there she is. This is Ahsoka Tano on Corvus, I believe, from that episode where we first see her. And there she is in the bubble with the blue background, and she comes with 2 white lightsabers. Once again, huge sticker, nothing on the back, so there's not really too much else to say about this. Obviously, I cannot wait to get my hands on the vintage collection version of this figure. It's going to be awesome. I think this one might be the weakest of the wave. Of course, I haven't got the other 3, but I'm not really digging that face, so we'll get the figure out and look at her in a bit more detail. And here she is out of the packaging, and there you go. I mean, the paintwork on the head is really good for a retro style 5POA figure, but I think the face really doesn't translate that well into a retro style figure. It looks absolutely nothing like her, and yeah, I'm not too keen on this one really. But apart from that, the head does look pretty good. The paintwork especially, as you can see there, going down with the blue. And also the paintwork on the body isn't too bad as well. You can see where her garments are there, and she's got a belt with a little belt buckle and everything. And this one is really shiny. Her sort of gauntlets are really, really shiny. We've got some silver paint on those as well. Brown gloves. And she has those baggy trousers, very much like Boba Fett. If we just bring him in again, you can see what I mean. Obviously, completely different sculpt because this is a much bigger figure. Look at the size difference, actually. You can really see that he is a much bulkier figure than Ahsoka Tano. And it looks like as well she does have silver paint on her sort of shin guards, which is pretty cool as well. Back of the figure, a bit more paint on the belt there and the sash. So all in all, a pretty good looking figure, but I think for me, out of the three that I've got today, this is probably the weakest. I do like the retro style lightsabers. They look very much the lightsabers that you used to get with Bespin Luke and Jedi Luke, the green and the yellow lightsabers from the vintage line with the 3 dots and everything, but we've got the curved hilt there, which is pretty cool. And so you get 2 of those. You get the longer one there for her primary lightsaber, which fits in the hand really well, and then a shorter one there for her like secondary lightsaber, which is pretty cool as well. So I do like those. That's good. And all in all, a good figure. I would probably say that this wave, certainly with the 3 I've got, is not as strong as the first wave of Mandalorian figures. I think the character selection was better, but these are still pretty cool anyway. So there you go then, guys. That's all 3 of them standing together. Obviously, when I get the rest of the wave, I will be reviewing those as well. On the whole, I'm not 100% keen on the retro collection, but I do like having them in the collection. I think they go well with other Kenner figures. And of course, these 3 in particular go very well with the previous wave of Mandalorian, obviously, because they're all from the same show. And it's good to have like a Bo-Katan. She looks pretty cool. And of course, you can never go wrong with a Boba Fett there. So there you go then, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Are you going to be buying this wave of retro collection figures? Have you already got them? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching then, guys, and we shall see you on the next one.